So if your cake business is struggling in 2024, I'm going to be giving you reasons why it might be suffering. Yes, while we decorate this great wedding cake together. So let's get started, right? Okay, so um kind of like a preamble, right? I'm decorating a 40th wedding cake for a wedding, and it's going to be in the background so you guys can learn a thing or two, but we're going to be talking about why your cake business might be suffering in 2024. So let's get started, right? So the first thing I want you to think about, and it's the easiest thing, but if you haven't thought about it before, you've not given it much thought, it can seem like, a huge thing, and it's the fact that it might just be the season. So let me explain what I mean. Yeah, so this business is kind of seasonal, and it's left for you depending on where you are and what city you work at and what kind of cake you make, to be able to know what seasons are slow and what seasons are super busy for you. Let me give you an example. So I started my cake business, like you guys already know, when I was in medical school in Ukraine. Yes. And the first 2 or 3 years, between January and the beginning of March, I get like really small, very few orders. And also between the beginning of July, the end of June, to like the end of August, I get really little orders. And for a very long time, yeah, I used to think, okay, maybe my customers decide to choose someone else. Maybe they're tired of me. Maybe they no longer like my cakes. And I really panic because I depended a lot on my cake money to be able to pay some part of my school fees, and also to be able to pay my rent and feed myself. So like it used to really, really, really make me panic. But after about 2 years, I kind of realized there was some form of pattern. So let me explain it to you. So I kind of realized that between January and February till the beginning of March, most students don't have a lot of money because most parents don't have a lot of money. So maybe because like parents have a lot of expenses, you need to pay school fees in the beginning of January, and like parents do not really have, because they had a lot of expenses during December and stuff, and January you still have to pay a lot of school fees. So usually most students didn't have like a lot of free money laying around to buy cakes and stuff, maybe for themselves or for their friends. So that was my rationalization for that. And for like maybe between July and August, at that time, yeah, most students had already gone home for the summer break, and those that didn't go home were in school, but they didn't have as much money. Maybe, yeah, this is just me speculating. Yeah, it might be because during that time parents know that like the students are not going to school, so they're not giving them as much money for maybe transportation and school stuff. Or maybe like how students lie to their parents collect money, maybe because like they're not in school, it's summertime, there are fewer things to lie about, so there is like very few money just lying around. I don't know, that's just my realization. Anyways, within like 3 years I kind of realized that there are certain times I don't have orders, and it's not because my customers don't want to buy from me anymore or because they changed their minds, but because they just don't have that much money laying around. It's just slow season. So that way it helps me prepare for the slow seasons, right? I know that okay, between January and February I might not have that much money, so I need to prepare in advance to have my rent for January and February, at least some part of it, so that even if I don't make that much money, I can still be able to pay my rent and still be able to feed myself and stuff. And at the same time it helps me prepare for March and April, when the orders start coming in, and they come in droves, especially after like the summer break, like September, October. Jesus, it will be as if like people died and then they resurrected. I'm telling you guys. So after a couple of years I kind of realized that okay, this is the pattern and I need to prepare for it. So moving forward now, like this is about 4 years after I finished. What am I saying? 4 years? Jesus. This is about 6 years after we finished medical school, right? Oh jeez, I'm an old lady. Anyways, now I live in Dublin and I make cakes. My bakery is in Dublin, Ireland, and I serve like Dublin and its environs. And I realized that like the pattern is kind of different here. And I've just been making cakes here for about a year plus. So I'm still kind of like like still trying to pay attention and also document a lot. So I'll have a lot of, information on knowing what times are the slow seasons and what times are the fast seasons. But I can tell you for a fact that usually January, February seasons are quite slow. Yeah. I'm not done, writing all of that down and trying to decide which time is slow. So it's left for you depending on where you live and what you do and what the city does, and basically where you live and like where you run your business and stuff. Try to decide. It might take you a long time, like it will usually take 2 years or more. Or if you document your cake business a lot, it might not even take you any time. You can just go back and check like the order patterns in the previous months for the previous years. That way you'll be able to know the times that were slow and the times where like the pace kind of picked up. That way you'll be able to plan yourself accordingly, and you can know that I'm not failing or I'm not struggling, it's just the season, which is okay, right? Okay, so the number two thing I want to talk about, right, is the fact that so the number two thing I want us to talk about right now is the global economy. Yeah. So the world is kind of different now because, there are literal wars going on in places that supply oil and wheat and energy and transportation through the sea. Basically, those things are things that affect like economies of different countries. So even though you do not live in Ukraine or you do not live on the Gaza Strip, your purchasing power is kind of reduced because now inflation is up almost everywhere. So it means people do not have as much money to buy cake as they would have normally. Let me give you an example. Let's say before, like $1,000 could pay your rent and pay your child's school fees and maybe still like buy food for the house. Now $1,000 can probably still pay your rent and pay your child's school fees, but now you need to find where to buy food. So which means you have few money for luxuries. And to be honest, custom cakes are a luxury. Custom cakes are not a necessity. Custom cakes are a luxury. If you wanted a dessert cake or just a cake, just a regular cake for, regular events or just for dessert, you can buy in the grocery stores. So most people have less disposable income for frivolities. That's just what it is. And this problem is not just affecting the cake industry, it's affecting everywhere. Most people that do the kind of business where like it's not exactly like rent, food, shelter kind of thing, those are the first things people cut down on when things get hard, right? So I want you to know that even if you're finding things quite difficult right now, it's not just you. If you ask any baker, they have the same problem. If you ask any nail technician, they have the same problem. If you ask anybody that does lashes, those things where like you can basically do without, you just love them because they improve your quality of life. Those are the first things that go when people's disposable incomes reduce. So you're not the only person having these issues of reduced clients, or the same clients that would normally come buy a $200 cake. Now they want a cake that's less than maybe $100 or $150, because most people are cutting down just because things are a little bit harder. That's just what it is. There's nothing you can do about that. There's not much anybody can do, except maybe you decide to market to new groups of people and stuff. So I think I'm going to make another video on how like I handle my business so I can, basically catch up with the times and still be able to make enough money and stuff. Okay, so the first thing we talked about is the fact that it's not you, it's just the season. The second thing is just that people have less disposable income. It's not you. Yeah, I know those two things you can't do anything about, but like it gives you the perspective of it is not you, it's not what you're doing wrong. Even though there might be things you need to improve in your marketing, in your business and everything, but there are things that do not depend on you, and this is how the system is right now, and you need to be able to navigate those things, basically, right? So number 3, another reason why you might be struggling might be because you're not paying enough attention. Let me explain what I mean to you by what I mean when I say you might not be paying enough attention. Okay, so sometimes we get so busy with like taking orders, making those orders, trying to serve our customers, that we're not paying attention to what people are actually buying. Let me give you an example. Like I said initially, yeah, people have less disposable power. If you notice that your customers are kind of buying cheaper items, create cheaper items that you don't spend so much time and money on, that has a higher profit margin, if that makes any sense. So if you need in-depth analysis of what the problem might be, or you need some extra help, I have a one-on-one class where like I'll have 2 Zoom calls with you for about 45 minutes each sessions, and we can diagnose what the problem is and maybe how you can fix it, so that like you can supercharge yourself for 2024. It's still February, so you still have a lot of time. Yeah. So I think I'm going to leave the link in the comment section in the description box for you guys in case you want to, use that. Okay, so thank you guys for always watching my videos, because I really enjoy making them for you. And if you have any question, you can just leave it for me in the comment section below. And if I don't answer fast enough, I don't really answer that much on YouTube, because I don't know, you can just leave me a comment on YouTube, on TikTok, and I'll be really fast answering that for you. Thank you guys, see you next time.